Good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your weekend Manchester United Transfer Daily, discussing all the latest Manchester United transfer news and giving you the lowdown with a real United Stand fan opinion as per usual. What we will be talking about today, well, Ronaldo's the headline. I'll explain that in a moment. We'll also be talking, worryingly, about Marcus Rashford's unclear future. Very left field this, very concerning. We'll be talking about that. Another sort of left field thing, who may well be taking over De Gea, not a player that's been mentioned before. Mourinho giving a big hint yesterday. We'll also be talking about the latest news from Griezmann and Mbappe, two developments around there, and Matuidi, as you can see at the bottom. Very interesting developments about him. Some people like me would like him to be our centre defensive midfielder this summer. We'll be telling you why there's a good chance that could happen. But let's start off with Cristiano Ronaldo. There is no clickbait headlines that some people think there is, that he's signing for Manchester United. That's not the point of this news. The point was to leave it to the weekend and discuss somebody who, for me, is one of the legends of Manchester United of my generation. Fantastic player. I know he left us to go to Real Madrid and he wanted to, and I know that frustrates some people. And ADWS is saying Ronaldo will never come, because these are the sort of fans that we have that this time last year were saying Pogba will never come. I've told you so many times, you probably are right about Ronaldo, but Manchester United can do anything. Absolutely anything. So you're a fool if you say Messi, Neymar, Ronaldo, Griezmann, whoever you want to say will never come to Manchester United. You should take yourself upstairs, look in the mirror and give yourself a naughty smack round the face, because you've been proven wrong so many times. We've had it each summer. Pogba won't come. We'd never sign someone like Di Maria. We won't get a Zlatan or a Falcao. We can do anything. We can do anything. Interesting on Messi, who's just rejected a new contract with Barcelona, their first offer. His contract's up in 2018, so I think he'll stay, but this is the summer Barcelona need to pin him down. But Ronaldo is better than Messi, in my view. That's controversial, I know. But Ronaldo to Manchester United, where's this come from? Well, Ronaldo has an affection to Manchester United, and he was quoted as saying this week just gone, that he still pines for Manchester United. He loved the club, he loved being there, obviously had a great affection for Sir Alex Ferguson, and the reality is Real Madrid fans don't treat him very well. They don't treat him very well. He's gone there, been their greatest player ever, probably going to win him another Champions League, scores goals for fun, absolutely amazing, but he still gets booed there. I actually had some Real Madrid fans agreeing with me about that this week. I had one who said, "You've got it wrong, Mark. It's just the song of appreciation they sing for Ronaldo. It sounds like booing." That's because it is booing. You booed Casillas, youth product, best goalkeeper you've ever had. You booed him. And Ronaldo's been booed for years, and it's a fact. But Ronaldo picks up £360,000 a week. He plays in a pub league for 3/4 of the season. And for people who've got an issue with that, I've always said, if Ronaldo or Messi came to the Premier League, they wouldn't score 10 hat-tricks a season like they do in La Liga. And I think we all saw on Thursday night, with all due respect to Celta Vigo, Manchester United have had a bad season at times this year. I'm not saying they couldn't come and beat us at Old Trafford. They shouldn't do. They were a very poor side at home on their stamping ground in their biggest game ever. They were about as effective as Leicester. In fact, Leicester would probably beat them. That's probably unfair. We need to go lower down the league, don't we? They're probably about as effective for somebody like a Swansea or a Hull. They were not very good at all. In fact, Hull City would give them a good game. That explains, hopefully, to everybody why Ronaldo and Messi get so many hat-tricks. Because if that's Celta Vigo at home, you'd fancy Real Madrid, who are better than Manchester United, to go to Celta Vigo and beat them 5 or 6-0. Imagine what they'd do at the Bernabeu. So that's the sort, away from Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, Barcelona, Real Madrid, the rest of certainly from 8th down, they're pub teams, and that's why it's so easy for Ronaldo and Messi to get so many goals in that league and feel fresh for the Champions League. It is a pub league, but it's an easy life to pick up £360,000 a week in a lovely climate, play the big games towards the end of the season and be fresh for it. Ronaldo's got everything he wants at Real Madrid. I personally don't think he would come back, but the question is, would we want him, and then would he want to come back to Manchester United? He's 32. He's just turned 32. He's 6'1". I think, my opinion, and probably a few of you, look, Zlatan's finished at Manchester United. If you could pick anybody to be the number 9 to take over from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, it would be Ronaldo every day of the week and Sunday, and by a long, long way. He is the perfect number 9. He's got the physicality. He's got more speed than Zlatan. He's more skillful than Zlatan. He's got better finishing than Zlatan. and he's fantastic in the air. And he's done it in the Premier League before. He would be perfect. And if people say, oh, he's too old at 32, Zlatan looked after himself perfectly and was playing in the Premier League at 35. Ronaldo is 3 years younger than that and even excels beyond Zlatan in how to look after yourself. He'd be absolutely perfect for us. So I'd welcome him back. I'd probably cry if we signed him because I just loved him at Manchester United, and I think he'd be fantastic back at United. Would Ronaldo come back to Manchester United? I don't know. It's obvious he loves us. He loves Manchester United. He's openly spoken about how they're the best fans he's ever played for, and whether we're the best club he's played for, he probably would say Real Madrid, because as a club, it's amazing, isn't it? It ticks all the boxes for him, status, pretentious and all this, that and the other. But fans, he's always been very clear that Manchester United have got the best fans. I don't think he would come back. I think Ronaldo at his stage in his life, the climate that he lives in, the lifestyle that he has, it's easier, but the rewards are better, if that makes any sense. Look, the Premier League is far harder than La Liga. Real Madrid and Barcelona are better than every team in the Premier League, but away from them, our league is stronger than La Liga. So 3 or 4 games a season, he has to really turn it on and work hard. But the rest of them, he's probably in 4th gear. Champions League moves up to 5th gear. In the Premier League, he's got to be in 5th gear virtually every week. And it's harder. Harder, not as warm. I just don't think Ronaldo needs to come back. And would Manchester United have him back? Well, we as fans would. Ed Woodward would love it. Would Mourinho love it? I think they have the same agent, but they have a tension there. So, in conclusion, this is not just about this summer. This is about whether Ronaldo ever will come back. And you should never say never. In 3 years' time, it'd just be like sliding Zlatan last summer. So I'd still say yes. But I can't see it happening. And the reality is, Ronaldo is contracted to 2021. He's on £360,000 a week. And to sign him, we would probably have to pay 80, 90 million. So it's not going to happen, I don't think. But never say never. I would welcome him back 100%. Right, let's talk about Marcus Rashford and this dilemma that's sort of come out. Marcus Rashford, Ronaldo-esque free kicks that Scholes predicted a couple of months ago, to be fair. The dilemma with the tagline of Marcus Rashford's future is unclear is basically because it is unclear, and it was discussed yesterday in the media a little bit and around Manchester that Rashford's future is very unclear, and it's sort of dividing opinion. Marcus Rashford scored a fantastic goal on Thursday night. Marcus Rashford's my favourite player at Manchester United. The free kick was a shock to many, but another string to his bow. The way he led the line wasn't a shock to me. At 19 years of age, he's got the passion, the tenacity, the desire, the skill to be anything he wants to be, and playing way, way beyond his years, like all the great young players do. I remember Rooney at that age, and younger Rooney, to be fair. So Rashford can be whatever he wants to be at Manchester United, but the dividing line is what next season role Rashford has. Because if we go and sign a big striker like Zlatan, like we did last year, and Mourinho does what he normally does, which is play that striker every game, then for most of this season we've been saying, why is Zlatan playing full 90 minutes? Why is Zlatan playing in the League Cup? Give Rashford a go up front. And it's only Rashford now playing up front because Zlatan's injured. And we should remember this because we've been discussing this on this show for a long time, and all you lot have been saying it, that we've been wanting Rashford to play up front all season, and it's only really in the last few weeks that that's happened. And all those fans that wanted that have been proven right. So Mourinho's failed in a way by not using him as much as he should have been used up front. He's been playing out on the wing, and we don't really rate him as a winger. He's a good winger, but he's a fantastic striker. And he's only playing there because Zlatan's out injured. So next season there is a dilemma, and it's unclear. Because if we sign a striker like everyone expects to, then Mourinho will do what he's done this year with Zlatan. He will play that striker all the time. And where's Rashford's opportunity to play as a number 9? So... Or do we not sign a striker, or we sign a striker who is sort of a backup striker to Rashford, but then, and I agree with this argument as well, is Rashford ready to lead the line week in, week out for Manchester United? I still think he can do it, but I don't think it's fair on him, unfair on us, to have Rashford doing that every week, because he's not, I don't think he is ready to be a Champions League striker and a title-winning striker week in, week out. He's 19 years of age, he's doing brilliantly, but he needs protection, he needs less pressure on him. I want to see him basically sharing the role with whoever we sign next year, but I don't think that will happen. So it leads to that question, what is Marcus Rashford's future? He's not being sold or anything like that. It's ridiculous. He's certainly not going to go on loan. But if we sign that striker like Zlatan, then are we going to be in that situation next year where we're like, why are you not you need to play Rashford more? And I back Mourinho. I think he's 100% the right man. I like him, but I'm totally aware of some of his faults. And I couldn't stand Van Gaal. And when people say, well, Van Gaal discovered Rashford, it's not true. He stumbled on him. He was playing everybody was injured. He was playing Will Keane ahead of Marcus Rashford. Remember Will Keane? Where's he now? God knows. Will Keane got injured. Martial gets injured in the warm-up. Rashford comes on and scores, and the rest is history. So Van Gaal stumbled on Rashford. But it'd be unfair to say that Mourinho hasn't stumbled on Rashford as well, because Mourinho wouldn't have been playing Rashford these last few weeks. He'd still be playing Zlatan and probably putting Rashford on the wing. So Mourinho stumbled on him as well. So I think the credit goes to Marcus Rashford as the individual, and that's what it should do, because I think he's a fantastic player. But how we solve it next year is open for debate. Is he to be the number 9? Do you think it's right that he should be the number 1, number 9, playing 60 games a season, hopefully winning us the title and advancing in the Champions League? Or what happens if we sign this striker and he can't get games? Interesting. Kwame says, personally, I don't think Mourinho signs a striker. He'll sign wingers and give Martial and Rashford rotating strikers. Interesting. And Marco says, Rashford, the new Solskjaer. And Varun makes a good point. Buy Chicharito as backup to Rashford. It's interesting. And Edwin says Martial wants to play a striker as well. So interesting to see what the future will be for Martial as well. But Rashford, it is a bit of a dilemma and it is a bit unclear. So give us your thoughts below. If you're watching live, just visit later and leave us your comments. Let's get the debate open about that. The next player I want to talk about is the one behind me on my left. I've left the analysis up there for you. £86 million. 25 goals from 49 games. Antoine Griezmann. I'll mention it because it's a transfer daily. He's basically told Real Madrid that he won't be signing for them. I tell you what, I don't know Antoine at all. I could have told you that. Doesn't need to go in a paper. Could have just told you that now. He's told Real Madrid he's not going to sign for them. He's not going to sign for Real Madrid. He's not going from Atletico Madrid to Real Madrid. It's not going to happen. Atletico Madrid won't let it happen. So it's just not going to happen. We move on. Real Madrid can be as interested as they want. They're not going to get him. But quite interestingly, when we do sign Griezmann, we can say for the second time to Real Madrid in 2 years. I'm saying 2 Real Madrid fans, 2. Last year you wanted Pogba. Fact, you didn't get him. You're after Griezmann. You're not going to get him as well. Manchester United. Yeah, we're a big club. We can do anything we want. We can do anything we want. Doesn't mean we will do it, but we can do anything we want. We're one of the only 2 or 3 clubs in world football can. There's no other club in England that can do what we do. When it comes to transfers, that's not arrogant. It's fact. It's based on history, size, luring power, and money. And money, people might not like that, but Manchester United are one of the only 3 or 4 clubs in world football that the money they generate, of which there are billions, is generated by the fans and the support. It's not generated by oil money or rich oligarchs from Russia. It is generated by the fans. So people can moan about how much money we spend, but it's all generated through legitimate fan income. Let's talk Matuidi, PSG. He's interesting, Matuidi, because he's just turned 30, 5'10", sort of fits in that sort of Kante, Bakayoko, Kessie, centre defensive midfield destroyer, goes in, very tenacious, very athletic, gets the ball and gives it to the better players, which is exactly, I think, what Manchester United need, because we're not going to find another Michael Carrick. The interesting thing about Matuidi is this, and it ticks a lot of boxes for me, and I don't think we're going to get Kessie. I think he's going to stay in Italy, and that's a shame, because I think he'd be a very good player, and he's shown an interest in Manchester United. But I think we will sign... I think Matuidi is very interesting because, like a few players this summer, even if you want people like Michael Keane, Alexis Sanchez, his contract is up in 2018, a year from this summer. Now, people think, well, it's still another year. It's massive. It's basically your contract's coming up this year, because if the club that they're at can't pin them down on a deal this summer, then they're screwed. They've got to sell them for a much cheaper price than they normally would, because if Matuidi, Alexis Sanchez, Michael Keane say, I'm not signing for Burnley, Arsenal or PSG, with the clubs that they're at this summer, then that club's got no power. They have a decision to make. They can make them stay for another season and let them go for free, because come Christmas they can talk to anybody that they like, or they sell them, which is what they'll all do, at a reduced price. So Alexis Sanchez, let's say, and that could still happen to United. I'm not talking about that today, but it could still happen. He'll go for about £30 million when he's worth 60. Michael Keane's going to go for about £10 to £15 million when he's probably worth nearly 30. And Matuidi will go for about £15, £20 million when he's probably worth about 30 as well. So from a Manchester United point of view, when we know we're probably going to have to pay over the odds for some of our targets, Matuidi is a very interesting target because he's exactly what we need, but we get him cheaper because of the contract. And also, Mini Raiola is greedy. Some people say he hangs around fast food outlets, and that's why he's greedy. I'm not going to talk about somebody's size. It's up to them what they do in their time. But in relation to what his job is as a football agent and what he does, Mini Raiola is greedy. And last summer he had a massive pay packet because he hung around Manchester and fed us good players and got big agent fees. This summer he's got to be thinking, what are my assets to do that with? And Matuidi is one. So it ticks a lot of boxes. The biggest box it ticks for me is that he's 30 years of age. We'd probably get 2 years out of him. Perfect for Fosu Mensah to play under a player like that, be his backup, learn from him, and then at 22 come in and take it, or maybe a bit earlier. So Matuidi ticks a lot of boxes as far as I'm concerned. And I've gone off Bakayoko. I know I was a big champion of Bakayoko at Monaco, but I've watched him a lot over the last 6 weeks, and I know he was recovering from an injury, but he's not anymore. His first touch is probably no better than Fellaini's. He's not much quicker than Fellaini. He's physical, but I don't see that mobility and tenacity, and he doesn't read the game that well either. I think he would be a flop as a centre defensive midfielder. It doesn't mean not going to sign him, and if we do, I'll back Mourinho on it because he maybe feels he can turn him into that player. But from what I've seen of him, I'd much rather we got Matuidi or a Kessie, which I don't think will happen. But I don't want Bakayoko. Mbappe, just staying with Monaco, Mbappe is interesting because he's come out and said that he's interested in going to Real Madrid. Typically, we expected that, but we know from Di Marzio that Manchester United are very interested in him as well. So I wouldn't park that possibility of that deal happening, but Real Madrid would quite fancy him. But as I said the other day, Real Madrid can't sign anybody. Apparently Real Madrid aren't interested in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Who is interested in him? Because somebody said PSG, but surely at his age, in his mid to late 20s, he fancies playing for a big club, and I think he'd score goals for fun in the Premier League. Maybe Man City will come in and get him. We're not really linked to him, but I really would like him. Also want to give a shout out for this goalkeeper that's sort of come a bit left field. We mentioned Ederson from Benfica yesterday. Joel Pereira being bigged up by Jose Mourinho in the press last night. Joel Pereira is already on our books. Young 20-year-old Portuguese keeper, and he's been training with the first team all season when he's not been injured. Mourinho likes to have 3 goalkeepers training. He says he trusts all 3 of them. Well, there's talk of Romero going to Inter, obviously De Gea to Real Madrid. I'm not saying Pereira would be our first choice next year, but when Mourinho says he's going to be the best Portuguese goalkeeper of a generation, and they have had some good goalkeepers, it's interesting. Mourinho obviously quite rates him. We like promoting young players from the youth system. Interesting, very interesting. Donnarumma, says Jake Holden. Client of Mini Raiola, he might fancy a bit of a payday himself. Also one of those players that falls into the contract thing of 2018. So Milan need to get him down on a contract this summer, or he'll probably go. Lots to keep an eye on about that. And Alexis Sanchez, I did mention him. We're watching tomorrow on the watch along for Arsenal. He is going to leave Arsenal, I believe. I think tomorrow might be the final nail coffin that makes him wake his eyes up that he's got to leave Arsenal, because Arsenal aren't going to be in the Champions League next year. I don't believe we're going to get top 4, so I certainly don't think Arsenal will. And Alexis Sanchez, at his age, because he is mid to late 20s, I think, might be slightly younger than that, he's not going to want to not be in the Champions League next year. But also, it's bigger than that with Arsenal. It's like, why would I stay at a club that won't pay me as much as people like Chelsea, United or other big clubs around Europe would? So you'll get more money. You'll play in a better team that actually has a backbone. I mean, with all due respect to Arsenal, you pretty much know no matter what happens next year, Arsenal will play good football up until Christmas, and then they will disintegrate like a bag of jelly babies, and they will get knocked out of the Champions League. They might get to the quarterfinals, but that's it. They'll get battered by Bayern Munich, and they'll be battling for 4th place again. So it's like Groundhog Day for the last decade at Arsenal. So Alexis Sanchez will leave. My bet would probably be that it'll go to Chelsea, but I wouldn't rule it out Manchester United. I wouldn't rule it out about Manchester United at all. Lots covered. Please do drop a like. We've been doing the transfer daily at 7 a.m. every day this week, and that will continue next week. On the weekend, we plan to do it a little bit later and do it live, because I obviously we're not doing it live on the 7 a.m. one. So if you've enjoyed the content, it's got its own playlist now. You can go back and watch the ones from the week gone by. I think some of them are only about 5 or 10 minutes long. They're all relevant because it's all news from the week. But do drop a like on the video if you like the concept of this. Back tomorrow with the watch along, obviously. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff, so we'll be live from 3 o'clock. I will be back doing some rambles at some point, but it's not great weather here today. And tonight on my Mark Goldbridge channel, just search it and subscribe, Mark Goldbridge. I'll be doing my tactics preview of the Arsenal versus Manchester United game. Got a bit of twist on that tonight, so that'll be about 8 o'clock going live on that. But thanks everybody, and as always, what I would say is get commenting below. If you're not watching live, come back. Comment below about any transfer deals. That's the whole point. I'll set the video up. We'll do it every day, and we'll discuss the transfer news. It's not necessarily going to happen. We're just reacting to news. If there's something you want to discuss, open the debate, because there's been some really good debates going on about transfers and stuff, and that's what we want the comments section to be used for. I'm also going to leave the link in for the United Stand Members Club, which is on Patreon now. Lots of exclusive content going up on there. I did my 4 Manchester United signings that I would sign if we could only sign 4. That's up on there for you. United Stand on Patreon. There's also a chat community in there where we're having discussions about all sorts of things. No trolls, no negativity on there. It's a nice community. And as soon as we get to 200 members, we're going to start doing live Q&As on there exclusively as well. So there's lots planned, lots of exclusive things about the United Stand, behind the scenes, stuff like that, of which I'll be putting one up today as well. So thanks everybody for watching. Really enjoying doing this sort of thing. And I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.